Hey everybody, just a quick announcement before this video. We've got a new Patreon reward at Wanderer tier, and it's a new ship chart. This time taking a look at the expansion era, a generation before the events of Sojourn. A sort of superficially golden age of exploration and heroism with figures like Blair Bellamy and Cormac Riordan, which would of course have its costs later on when the famine comes along, etc. But there's a bunch of great new ship designs from Ethan Leroyth alongside some things you've already seen like the Troubadour class, all lovingly rendered in our toon style. If that takes your interest, you can go ahead and check it out at the link below, and of course you will also get all of the episodes of the Sojourn released so far, all of the wallpapers, and like a dozen other rewards at that tier. All of those you can download and keep even if you don't want to stay pledged that long. Do check it out. As always, thank you for your support, and I hope you enjoy this video. The Laurel-Class Sloop of War, introduced in the late 280s following the Michaela Collette fleet modernization program, was designed to fill a gap in doctrine left by its contemporary corvettes and brigs. Rather than being designed to fit a specific role in the fleet, it was built expressly to carry weapons and systems not present on its fellow sloops. At a length of 115 metres and a beam of 29.5 metres, the Laurel-Class seems to be, on its face, an extremely well-armed, potent warship. It carries a theoretically devastating loadout of 4 32-inch carronades, 4 6.3-inch swivel guns, and 1 rapid-cycling torpedo tube, and is propelled by 1 Propulsive Dynamics G16M DFTR engine, the same as seen on the Protectress-class corvette and the Aquilon-class post ship. The Laurel-Class is defined by compromise. The ship does not have enough internal volume for all of its intended weapons and systems, which required significant concessions to be made during the design of its internal layout and structure. Its hull is extremely well reinforced around the carronade emplacements, dramatically limiting space for crew access and complicating maintenance. This structure does not extend into the ship's main hull, however, as that space is utilised for other design requirements, such as cargo storage, which itself limits the available space for the torpedo magazine. The Laurel-Class was conceived to close the distance to its adversary and wreak havoc at pistol shot range with its carronades. While a theoretically sound doctrine, the ship's heavy armour required to survive the approach phase greatly limits its acceleration and reaction times. Ultimately, its carronades act more as a deterrent from starting short-range fights than actual fighting assets. The several shortcomings of the Laurel-Class were laid bare during the Frontier War, as without high-velocity armaments like those seen on the Aquilon-class post ship, the sloops of war simply could not match the range of Union militia outriders and frigates. In nearly every action, Union captains controlled the engagement completely, with the Laurels unable to make use of their carronades, and many lost to surrender or destruction, often no matter the competency of their commanders and crews. Having sustained heavy losses early in the war, the Centran Admiralty elected to limit Laurel production in favour of the more cost-effective Andalay-class brig and the increasingly legendary Confiance-class frigate. The remaining ships of the Laurel-class already in service, as well as the few new builds, would be assigned to secondary roles, including rear echelon security, sensitive cargo transport, personnel transfers, and humanitarian missions. In these roles, the Laurel-Class developed a very dissonant reputation between the military and civilians. Among the CDF, it remained extremely unpopular. Crews hated its cramped interior and difficult maintenance, and officers felt stifled by their assignments, unable to advance their careers serving aboard these unremarkable ships. Vessels of the class would sometimes deploy without all systems working at full capacity, as many commanders relaxed maintenance standards in attempts to improve crew morale. In stark contrast, however, being the more common sight of aid recipients from the CDF, and frequently seen in civilian life around populous systems like Axios and Centrum, the ship became something of a symbol to civilians, embodying the reassuring presence of the CDF in difficult times. Produced in limited numbers, the Laurel-Class Sloop of War is widely considered a dud in comparison to its contemporaries. Its poor performance and low popularity caused ships of the class to be among the first stricken from the fleet during the CDF's downsizing following the war and the onset of the Black Centenary. Leaving a mixed legacy, ships of the class have become a less common sight in famine-stricken Tantalus, their future still an open question.